Welcome back to another episode of the Second Look Hockey Podcast. As always, I'm your host, David Leo, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Cristian Ceniti. Cristian, feels like, honestly, I don't know about you, it feels like we haven't, talked in a while, but we saw each other literally this past week, in person.
That's exactly where I was going to go. Yeah. Yeah, no, it does feel like you figure our last pod, just in terms of hockey timeline, we were 2 games into the Cup Final. Now we're on the morning of Game 6, so a lot has happened that way. So yeah, it has been a while, but no, it was good to see you in person, chat a little bit. It was good to see a bunch of other people too. It's a good time. We freaking graduated. That was cool.
We did.
For a second time, me and you at least, yeah.
Yeah. I think for everybody, it had to have been a second time to get into our program, right?
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Did your first graduation? I can't remember if you had the COVID overlap or not. Did you have an in-person convocation for your?
Yeah, I did. I had
nice.
In person. Did you?
I did. No, I did as well. I couldn't remember, but I will tell you this. Graduating from a university undergrad and that college undergrad, just the experience, the convocation experience, oh man, it was just a lot more fun. It was just more fun.
It really was. I'll be honest with you. I loved the fact that they kept that thing to 2. They were like, yeah, we're only going to be here for 2 hours. I'm like,
but hey,
I don't believe you. They did.
I didn't believe them until they started calling out names, because that opening was good. It's dragging on a bit, but no, they kept to their word, man. They kept to their word. So yeah, congrats.
They were throwing people basically across the stage.
Yeah. Hey, congrats to us. Congrats to any of our friends that are also there that are maybe listening. And yeah, that was fun.
Hey, congrats to anybody who was there in general. If you're
congrats
listening.
Congrats to anyone who's graduated.
Congrats if you grad.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be in a post-secondary. It could be, high school. It could be kindergarten. Congrats to everyone. Yeah, no, we do definitely got, that was fun. But if that's all good with you, I say we honestly hop right into our first segment, unless you had something else you wanted to bring up.
I will give a shout out to just the sports weekend as a whole, because I'm sure you were just watching a ton of sports too. Like that. Also, congrats to any fathers for Father's Day. That was on Sunday as well. And I want to just highlight that just because that was a fantastic sports day, considering you didn't have an NHL Finals game or an NBA Finals game. We had a huge NBA trade. We had a huge MLB trade. You had the U.S. Open in golf. You had Formula 1 in Montreal. I was having a great time watching sports all freaking day. I just want to give a shout out to the sports Father's Day that was, because it was really good.
That was an all-timer of a Father's Day for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of sports, yeah. Dude.
I don't know. Was there any soccer on Sunday? I don't know.
Yeah, they started the Club World Cup. So I'm pretty sure that started. It was either Saturday night or Sunday. So I was watching a bit of that over the. No, it was Saturday because I was watching a bit yesterday and Sunday as well, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I was honestly debating on coming here with a soccer jersey on just to shout out the Club World Cup. But honestly, I watched a couple of games and there's a clear lack of interest, I think, with a couple of the teams. Well, because
it's more 2016 World Cup of Hockey than it is Four Nations, eh?
Yeah, 100%. Especially because they put this tournament right at the end of most European teams' schedules, and I think also most, all the South American teams that are there, they kind of run on the European format as well. The only ones that really play now are I think the Aussies and the MLS. They kind of play in the winter times.
So this tournament's more of a cool down lap than it is.
Yeah, I think this is more of can the U.S. support a potential World Cup, but this isn't really the tournament or a potential. Yeah. It is coming to the. This is working out the kinks basically before a mass load of people come, and I hope they take away a much better thought about this tournament rather than the game yesterday. The one that I watched was Chelsea and LAFC of the MLS, and they were playing in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, and if a third of that stadium was filled up, that would be very generous, if I'm going to be completely honest. So it's a bit tough, but
Gotcha.
We'll see. Come this time next summer, everything's kind of going to be in full swing, and the hype is going to be off the charts.
There's gonna be so many people here. Like, we're gonna record our pod during that tournament. There's gonna be like people walking behind us in our house in the back.
In our houses,
the traffic
yeah.
will be like that backed up.
People are going to be living out of our houses rent free, basically.
Yeah,
100%. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's going to be a great time next year. You know what? We'll see kind of how this tournament plays out. They've got some big hitters in the tournament. It's all the big clubs. And for the most part, I think most teams brought their A-list stars. Whether they play them the full game kind of remains to be seen. I've seen some teams kind of resting their guys maybe for later on in the tournament. We'll see. We'll just see how the rest of the tournament plays out. I think that goes over a month. It's about the same time as like a World Cup event or like any major tournament. So we'll see how I'll keep everybody updated.
The hockey stuff will be long done by the time that is. Okay.
We'll see. We could have some fireworks over the next few weeks. Who knows?
I definitely hope so.
Well, speaking of fireworks, we've had fireworks ever since Game 2. Every single game of this Stanley Cup Finals has just been balls to the wall, electric. I think that's the best way to describe it. I think we've probably come on here now 2 weeks in a row. Has it been like 2 weeks in a row where just like this has been the best Stanley Cup Finals in at least 10 years, I would say.
Yeah, I will say I still am putting it on that pedestal. It's still on the podium for me. But after Game 5, in which Florida kind of handedly took care of business, it was more of a Florida game, a little bit low event after the first. Like, the onus is now back on the Oilers to freaking show up in Game 6 to keep this series, in terms of the entertainment value, up there. It's still up there, but with how
it started to degrade.
Potentially, that's what I would say. That's what I would say.
Okay, that's fair. Listen, if you have in two games, like that game, Game 3, where the Panthers just absolutely mauled. I think we literally came on, we recorded that day, we were like, oh, I'm expecting, it's going to go back to Edmonton, it's going to be very tight, we're expecting Edmonton to like come out with some fire.
Put the fist down, I said Oilers are going up 2-1 here, like I was very confident about that. No. This kind of has been, I don't want to say the Brad Marchand coming out party. This is the Brad Marchand victory lap, I would say. Yes, that's a good way. Yeah.
Right? Scores again. He's scored in 4 of the 5. He did score twice, but he scored in 4 of the 5 Cup Final games. The only one he didn't score in was that game, that loss in overtime in Game 4. Scores twice in Game 5, including another just breakaway. Like the fact that
many breakaways for this dude.
So it's unbelievable for a guy that's 37, about to be 38 years old. The fact that he kind of turns into like a ghost on the ice, and he's just able to get by all like everybody. He's just elusive. I don't know what it is with Marchand. He has to be, for me, in the top 90 percentile for sure. I don't know how much higher
just
up.
Getting breakaways, you're saying?
Not just breakaways, but just hockey IQ in general. Because I don't think his, like, is he flat out fast? No. Is he flat out faster than most of the league? Maybe, potentially. Yeah. But something about like his smarts, I think, puts him in those positions where he's just able to capitalize. And it really looks like he's just like turning back the clock. This reminds me of like a Brad Marchand of a yesteryear They used to
one that we saw a lot in some Toronto.
I was just about to say it looks like someone that we did see quite often a few years back. But you know what? Good for him for playing as well as he has. I don't think anybody's had as good of a final as Brad Marchand.
Just on the skating note, because you brought it up, I looked here on NHL Edge real quick. So his top skating speed, he's 68th percentile, which is lower than you'd think. But speed bursts over 20 miles per hour in the playoffs, 87th percentile. So he's there. He's right there. And then skating distance, just total skating distance, 96th percentile. Now that sometimes, like that stat there, I find could really depend on just the team you play on. Obviously, it's also like, I think it's time on ice dependent. I don't think that's like a skating distance per 60 stat. So obviously, if you're one of the better players, you're on the ice more, you're going to skate more. But it might also be like a Florida play style thing. But I think, to your point, like he's decently fast. He's fast enough that it's still at 37, you wouldn't consider him slow, which is fast enough. And B, like you said, the separation factor with the IQ. I just wanted to throw those out there while we were on it.
So now, in terms of like skating distance, how is that covered in terms of?
It's literally just like miles skated on the ice of this playoffs. Like it's just a raw style like that. So it's like take it with a grain of salt. Whatever.
Okay, yeah. So I'll take it with a grain of salt.
It's not a per 60.
Because now I would imagine in that top like 15 percentile is just littered with Panthers and Oilers skaters. Like I wouldn't expect somebody who got eliminated in the first round to be up there, right? 100%. We're gonna take that one with a grain of salt, but it is also interesting. The speed burst one, though, I know we're also like that one's another one where it's like you said in terms of the playoffs, he's got like the speed burst. You also eliminate half of the whoever could be eligible for that stat. But still, the other half that's there to be in the top 20, top 15th percentile of that has to be pretty good company, right? So that maybe that does go to my point 100%. Dude, that third line, the Luostarinen, Lundell, and Marchand line, like in a few years when Brad Marchand isn't there, Anton Lundell and Eetu Luostarinen are gonna just be mutants. Like heading up the top.
You know
of
what
that
Brad Marchand's nickname is for them? This came out like probably before the final started, but there was a quote. He like since he got to Florida was calling them Finnish phenoms, right? That's what he would call them. But I think it was Anton Lundell who thought he was saying Finnish females. He's like, why is he calling us? Like he didn't know what phenom.
Just
meant.
had no idea.
Didn't hear it right. So yeah, in Brad's own words, they're Finnish phenoms though. So yeah, like it's you look back at just comparing all the cup finals and just eventual cup winners, you always talk about the line. And a lot of the time the line isn't the team's first unit. When we think of Tampa, we think about Palat, we think about Blake Coleman,
Yanni
we think
Gourde.
about Barclay Goodrow, Yanni Gourde. Yeah, exactly. That not Palat. It was Yanni Gourde, Blake Coleman,
but even
and Barclay Goodrow.
Was Palat played on that top line for like a couple of those runs?
Yeah, and you know what? He as a singular player was one of the more clutch guys for the Tampa Bay Lightning, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the run. So
I think when I think of like just depth lines that just get it done, I automatically go to the HBK line.
Yeah.
The Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel line. That wasn't the top line.
Not feature Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin. So yeah, like you do need that quintessential. Everyone calls it like their identity line, whatever cliche term you want to use. But I mean, it's been what it's been built to be, and then some for Florida. Marchand, Lundell, and Luostarinen. So yeah, but I like the Marchand stuff is like still not surprising to me, but. It's just like you are 37, Brad, and you have just decided that you are going to be one of the best performers in the Stanley Cup Final among active players, and I think even historically. I think the two stats that stuck out most to me that I saw. Brad is only the second player to score 5 goals in multiple Stanley Cup Finals. The other guy is Mario Lemieux. Pretty good. Maybe one of the best.
I heard one as well where it was like I think he might be the only person to score 5 goals with 2 separate teams as well.
That checks out. Well, I mean, because there's only 2 of them, and Mario.
Yeah, Mario was playing for the Pens.
There we go. That's already fact checked.
There you go.
That was stat number 1, and stat number 2, and I cannot remember where I saw it, but he has, I believe, 9 goals now, and 7 of them.
10 goals now.
10 goals. Okay, so 10 goals. And I don't know if the last one, I don't think the last one was a go-ahead. So let's say 7 of the 10 goals have been to put his team ahead. That is the definition of clutch. That is it right there.
I think technically that goal would have been the game winner because that was his second goal was the 3-0 goal. And they ended up winning 5-2, right? So I believe they count that one as the game winner. So if that's the case,
it depends on definition of like go ahead versus game. Guess what? They're both clutch.
Yeah,
they're both important.
I think that means in 3 of the 5 games, I think he has game winners. He has the OT winner in game. No, I guess it's only 2 of the 5. But regardless, like still. That's pretty crazy in itself.
Speaking of victory laps, I think you already did this last week, but you get to do it again. Would you like to take a victory lap for how things are trending as far as Conn Smythe? We're trying to figure out where I was going with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I hate patting myself on the back, but in this case, so I did mention on the last episode, but for some reason, something in my head told me to put, especially for how good I would say Brad Marchand played in the first round and the second round. I thought he kind of dimmed a little bit in the third round against Carolina, but something in my head told me if they get back to, like when they get back to another Cup Finals, I think Brad's gonna have something to prove, especially considering how poorly I would say the end of his last trip to the Cup Finals went in 2019. I think Brad was going to have something to prove. Did I expect this type of production out of him? No. Maybe I did because I sprinkled a little bit of money on him winning a Conn Smythe.
But even like the production's been like so condensed right now, right? Like that's the thing is maybe actually, well, no, because you're saying if you're looking at it the conference final, then no, he had to just pile it on, and that's what he's done.
That's exactly what it was. And his odds were, like, so high. I was like, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you kind of put in bets like that, especially with the odds that I got. Like, I literally got him at 80 times your money. You have to expect just to lose that money. And you bet kind of, like, accordingly, right? But even I'm, like, frankly surprised. Like, I was like, I kind of just threw it in as an extra. I was like, this is my wild card pick for a Conn Smythe. And the wild card pick is the one that looks to be one of the front runners right now. I would say the only other player that has, if Florida ends up winning, that has a very, very good chance of winning the Conn Smythe. And I still, in my heart, as much as I really want a Brad Marchand Conn Smythe, I still think it's going to go to Sam Bennett just for overall the playoffs that he's had. And it's also not like he's dimmed in the Stanley Cup Finals. I believe he has
again as well.
Yeah, I think he has 3 goals now in the Cup Final, which is just behind Brad Marchand's 5. Like it's like Brad and then Sam, right? So on that note, yeah, like I'll take my victory lap, Christian.
Listen, it is preemptive because if
it happens.
Yes, because I would still say like I'd say Brad now front runner, but a Sam Bennett 2-goal game and we're probably right, like we're back to Sam Bennett.
So how exactly do you think that they're gonna judge this year's Conn Smythe? Because the Conn Smythe is given out to the player who is the MVP of the playoffs, not the Cup Finals. Which
why I think we said this last episode. It's like, why can't we just have both? Like, give us Finals MVP and
I know. I know.
Right?
The NBA does it right.
And then you already know the writers like, okay, we'll give Brad his finals and we'll give Sam his Conn Smythe and we're good. We're good. Everyone's happy. But 100%. Now we have to. You're right. Now we have to make a decision. I don't know. I honestly tend to think that because it is like a lot of awards, it's a media voted on award. I think the Brad Marchand story is too juicy to not award.
I know. It really is the lifetime, and I want to call it the Lifetime Achievement Award, but for how well he's playing, I think it's so difficult to even call it that, because if you know anything about like when somebody gets like when they do that stuff like at the Oscars where it's like, we'll kind of give it to him. Case in point, Leonardo DiCaprio for The Revenant. I watched The Revenant. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a very good movie. I don't think it was Leonardo DiCaprio's best performance, though. I think maybe it's like in the top 5. But I don't know if it should have won its award when it did. But it was a Leonardo DiCaprio. Right some wrongs. 100%. So in this case, is that the type of performance that Brad Marchand is having? I don't think so. I think this might be Brad Marchand's like coup de grace. Like he's won a cup and he was never this type of player, right?
No.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
100%. Just on the, I don't really know if there's too much to touch on.
Hello.
I'm saying talk and touch on at the same time. Touch on.
A little talk it. We're gonna talk it about it.
We're going to talk about it, yeah. I don't think there's too much to touch on with Bennett than we already have. I mean, there's been more swirling around him and his number than there has been about Brad. I think it was, I can't remember if it was Elliot who said Florida was looking at Carter Verhaeghe's deal as the comparable for Bennett right now, which is $7 million times 8 years. And that's not going to get it done anymore. It's not going to get it done.
It's going to have to compare to the cap hit, I think, 100%. Like, cap percentage-wise, like in terms of whatever that is.
I mean, yeah. I just think, like, if he gets to open market, I think we can kind of throw it all out the window, and it's really just going to be highest bidder in general. Like, I think it's just going to be not a total bidding war, because we'll see where he's even interested in signing, but I think that number is going to get inflated really quick.
So if he does end up going, like when he eventually gets to the open market, and a team offers him 10, but it's an undesirable destination, but Florida's coming in with 8.5, I still am inclined to believe that he's going to lean towards the 8.5, especially if it's like over 8 years compared to the 7. Like that extra year, I think definitely plays a factor. And I just think South Florida has treated Sam Bennett as good as anybody ever has, right? Like you remember when he left Calgary, he was a healthy scratch, playing on the 4th line. Shout out to Daryl Sutter for absolutely just mismanaging Sam Bennett's career for the most part, his early parts of his career, the formative years. And look at the type of player that he's turned into. He's really stepped up. He's done everything I think asked of him, basically. And as much as he should be rewarded for his play, I think he also wants to reward Florida as well for taking the chance on him and kind of putting him in the best position to succeed. So I think even if that number starts to drive up, I'm not as inclined to believe that he's going to leave there, honestly.
No, I agree. I do think it's definitely more likely he's staying there. I will say this. As far as his number in Florida, Reinhardt is at 8.625. And that was coming right after they won the Cup.
And a 50-goal season.
A 60-goal season.
60-goal season. Yeah.
Crazy. I know. It's crazy to think back on that. Here's the thing, though. Here's what Sam Bennett's going to be able to say that no one on this roster can. Potentially. Potentially could say he has a Conn Smythe. And that is the feather in his cap. Because if he can come in with that, I honestly think he can then ask for more than Reinhart. I think he can, especially with the cap going up, like you said. I think Tkachuk makes 9.5. Barkov makes 10. I don't think if he wants to stay in Florida, he cannot ask for more than 10. You're not allowed to make more than Alexander Barkov. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But I think he can ask for 9.25 and slot in under Matthew Tkachuk. I think he can make that argument. So
hey,
that's
honestly, dude, for the type of production that he has. Now, listen, we could talk about this deal, whatever deal it is, 8 years from now. Maybe it doesn't look as good, but you hope also with the rising cap. But just his play right now, like barring anything catastrophic over the next 3 to 5 years, I would expect Sam Bennett to be a similar type of player. Maybe doesn't score 15 goals in any other playoff run, but for what he brings on the ice every time he's on there, besides the points, I think that's a bullet you have to bite. Like. And I don't think 9 is... I don't know if... I find that more palatable than him, like, coming to, let's say, the Leafs, and it's, like, 10.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll get more
Leaf talk.
More info on this, obviously, by the time we talk next. Then we'll see what the rumors say. Because someone's going to bite the bullet. It's not like he's going to go and sign it. No one bites the bullet. Someone will bite the bullet. So we'll see. Or maybe it's him that bites the bullet and takes the lower number. I think we do got to talk Edmonton side of things here really quick.
I was going to say, series is heading back to Edmonton for the last time. Like, this will be the last game in Edmonton. What do the Oilers need to do to get back into this game? Or into this series?
I mean, so is it like... sorry, you know what? Tonight is in Florida. We forget that Florida. I mean, Edmonton does have a nice advantage.
That's right. They were in Edmonton. Oh my god.
I know. No, it's okay.
I was coming into this like oh, they're going to Edmonton. It's gonna be a tough one, but then they might have to go back to Florida to play. I completely forgot about that.
This is the scenario in front of us. They are in Florida tonight for Game 6. Oversimplified answer first. Show up in the first period, Jesus Christ! Show
up in the second period too. If you show up in the first,
yeah, it's just I've now heard some answers. I think from McDavid and Corey Perry, from watching Sportsnet Central last night, where they're like, for some reason we like to make it hard on ourselves, but that's how we like it or whatever. And it's like, that's not a good answer. Like,
I don't know if that's going to work in an elimination game now.
Yeah, they're painted in a corner now, so it really doesn't matter what the hell they say. You either do it or you don't. I cannot believe, as someone who came into the series picking the Oilers here in 5, okay? I'm sorry, Oilers fans, because I doubted you every series until this one, and now I finally come to your side, and this is what happened. So obviously this is my fault, but no, I've been really surprised and disappointed with the starts, and I think a lot of people are going to first point to the goaltenders. I don't. Like, it's not about the goaltenders in the first period. It is not. It's not. It's as simple as that. So, are they going to show up and actually push the pace in the first period here? Florida has scored 2 goals in every first period in this game, which is ridiculous. Like, you cannot expect to win.
You're not winning like that.
You can. No. You can. The fact that we're still Game 6, you can tie the series, get it to the decider in Game 7 is crazy that they're still in this spot.
I think, frankly, the only reason that we're in this spot right now is that the Oilers had to do something like quite literally Stanley Cup Final historical by coming back from multi-goal, like down by multi-goals in Game 4, right? And against a team that just doesn't lose a third period.
And that was the second time they've done it in this series, yeah.
Right? Like, that's the only reason that we are in this position right now. So
yes.
It's not good enough, basically, right?
B, the high-stakes stuff. Like, that, there wasn't... I mean, no, they took 2 high-stakes in the first period last game as well. Like, this is now... I think they've taken 4 high-staking penalties in the series. And I saw a stat that the high-staking infractions were 12 for Edmonton and I think 2 for Florida in the playoffs overall.
Yeah.
That's just a discipline thing, once again. So there's those 2 things. I don't know. And then on the goalie front, like, I once again, oversimplifying here, but I do not care who starts this game for the Oilers. Because the onus is on the skaters to show up here. I think maybe you go to Skinner because A, it's the guy you start your season with. It's the guy who you ran with last year. Like, it's the guy who got the bulk of the games. You should go with your guy. And I also kind of like what we've seen from Pickard in relief. Like, he seems to have the mindset to be able to come in relief and pick up the game wherever they left off. I think I like that look probably a little bit better than trying to switch from Pickard to Skinner if things go wrong. But like I said, onus is on the skaters. Like, pick up your goalie here to start the game for how many times the goalie has picked you up in the latter half of games. So, yeah, I'm a little peeved with how the Oilers have put themselves into this spot.
I think every time though you kind of back, especially over the last couple of years, every time you back this Oilers team into a corner, they come out swinging. So I really wouldn't be surprised if tonight is the turning point night. For as much as I've been, rah Panthers, I'm gonna put a little bit of faith in the Oilers tonight. That might be stupid. I might be wrong, but if there's any time for them to come out and give it all you got, lay it on the line, as some would say.
I wish we still had the commercial. They got rid of it. They canned it.
I'm so glad they got rid of it. I was over it by the second round.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is quite literally, it is do or die tonight. Like, there is no hyperbole about it. Like, this is the end of your season if it's not there. This is the end of the season, like, in general. So. Yeah. 100%. The
McDavid finally got on the board last game, so maybe that unlocks something for him. Because 100%. This is we saw in the NBA yesterday. The number 2 guy for OKC, Jalen Williams, popped off for 40 points, and it's like you either need a pop off performance from one of your unsung guys, but like I could totally see a Corey Perry spot here. Like, this is a guy
100%.
as desperate to tie up this series as anyone on the Oilers. Or it's like a McDavid takeover type of game. Like, I need to see that tonight. Yeah, the only observation I'd make, and I think it's one that other people have made too, is just you look at the series on the whole right now. On balance, there's of course like the fact that the Florida Panthers have led for more than 200 minutes in this series compared to the Oilers in 30-minute mark, right? Like, so that is obviously lopsided. I mean, I think back to the storylines in the Edmonton LA series in the first round, and it was, can LA win a Edmonton style game, right? And what we actually ended up happening is Edmonton winning a couple LA styled games, right? Mm-hmm. That's how they won that series. In this series so far, it's been Florida who has won an Edmonton style game, right? They had their game 2 OT thriller. I would call that the Edmonton style game. But Florida's other 2 wins have been Florida playbooks, textbook Florida games. Pile it on early and pack it in to close it out. Just a low event game after getting a lead, and the Oilers were kind of trapped. They couldn't get anything going. So we've seen that in Game 3, and we saw that again in Game 5. So on balance, the Florida Panthers here are the ones who have took the style of play victories. We need to see Edmonton have an Edmonton Oilers shutdown game like they had multiple times throughout this playoffs. Where remember McDavid came out, he's like, "Oh yeah, we can play defense."
Oh yeah,
we need that game because we've only seen the Oilers play offense, and when the offense hasn't been there, we haven't seen enough defense. So,
100%.
Yeah, lay it on the line. That's it. Okay.
That's it. That is it. So yeah, like I mentioned before, Game 6 goes tonight in Florida. As I'm just finding out again today, and I should have known that. But Game 6 goes tonight at 8 p.m. We'll see. Do we want to do a little prediction here? What do we think? What do you think happens tonight, Christian?
I'm going to have to stick with what I came into the series with in terms of the team I backed, because the games is not happening. But give me 4-2 Oilers. I want to see exactly what I'm asking for from the Oilers. A really thorough effort where we see them from start to finish be in the game, dictate the play, and not just offensively. I want to see an Oilers dictated game on both ends of the ice.
So
and who doesn't want to see Game 7?
I know,
right?
You're right. I want maximum chaos. I want to see an OT tonight. Whether Florida wins the cup in OT or Edmonton shifts the series back, they claw back from the brink and they push Florida onto the brink as well.
Yeah, I'll take either.
I want to see a nice 3-2 OT win. I'm going to lead towards the Oilers as well because I just want more of this series. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see how well our predictions are next episode, I guess. And on that note, we can kind of move forward here. We got our reveal for all, I think it's 12 Olympic rosters ahead.
Correct.
Or we got the first 6 players named.
Yeah.
Christian, we didn't really talk about how we were going to go about this segment, but I have something for you. So I took I don't want to discredit the other 8 teams, but I have the roster, the initial 6 from Canada, US, Sweden, Finland ahead of the Four Nations roster.
Yep.
And the 2026 Olympics. I'm going to just quickly run through some of the names that have chopped and changed between the two. There's only one team here that has the exact same 6 guys going to the 26 Olympics from the Four Nations. Do you want to pose a guess before I list them off?
I think it's Finland.
Yeah, you'd be correct. Okay. So I'll start there then. So Finland's taking Sebastian Aho, Sasha Barkov, Mikko Rantanen, Miro Heiskanen, Esa Lindell, and Jussi Saros as their first 6. I believe the final rosters are going to be announced a bit closer to the Olympics. I would expect that to be in like the December window. Just
honestly, it might even be late. I'm trying to remember. Like, it's been so long since we had NHL players at the Olympics. I can't remember the timeline there, but I remember teams complaining, at least for Four Nations. So I don't know how much say the NHL has here, but remember, like, we got that reveal, like you're saying, early December, and that's kind of how we ran into, like, oh, why did Logan Thompson not make this team? Look at his number after the roster was revealed or whatever. So I think maybe we avoid that scenario just a little bit closer to the actual tournament, please, Olympics. That's all I'll ask.
Yeah, 100%. So now I'm going to go to their next country rival over in the Swedes. So for Four Nations, they took Philip Forsberg, William Nylander, Mika Zibanejad, Gus Forsling, Victor Hedman, and Erik Karlsson as their initial 6. For the 2026 Olympics, the 6 names are, and this is the team with the most amount of change between the two tournaments, Rasmus Dahlin, Adrian Kempe, Gabe Landeskog, Willie Nylander, and Victor Hedman staying in the lineup, and Lucas Raymond. So 4 names on that list from the Four Nations aren't named in the initial 6. Do you have any thoughts between the two, like between the names there that you would want to see?
All I would say is I think, especially after hearing that one, because I basically looked at Canada and US. I didn't get much time to look at the other rosters, but the fact that like Landeskog is there, it's like a tip of the cap. It's a welcome back, buddy. What a return to health, and you played pretty well in the playoffs. You get a free bye. It's a little performative, little decorative, which is fine. Other than that, no. Like I think like Dahlin in for Karlsson. I think that probably should have been the case.
I
for
think
the
so.
Four Nations in general.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That one felt more of like, that one felt as like tip of the cap at that time.
Yeah.
As the Landeskog is right now.
Karlsson will probably still be there. Like that's right. So.
Sucks. I love watching Philip Forsberg play. Sucks that he wasn't named to the initial roster, but I also don't think he had that great of a season to really warrant maybe.
He's also got nothing to worry. He'll be there.
I think, yes, 100%. Like, I think the only one that really might right now be in doubt of even making the tournament is Mika. if I'm going to be completely honest. I think he might kind of be on the fringe, odd man out. I don't know if you kind of feel the same way. I just think his stock has kind of plummeted over the past 18 months, I would say.
Definitely a bad year for him. We had like some Mika news these past couple days. I think his case is solid still, because as much as Sweden is one of the best hockey countries, like we had like one of my dogs, Leo Carlsson, maiden, and I'll go to bat for Leo Carlsson all day, but I would take Mika Zibanejad over Leo Carlsson in a small tournament like this. So it's nothing. I think you're right where it's like he was a stalwart for Sweden. Like you'd be putting him in on like a first line every time you do.
Well, they penciled him in the first 6, right? So that's clearly how like high they thought of him.
You're on track there. But yeah, like he'll be there. I think he'll be there. I don't think he's got too much, unless he keeps plummeting. Because that would be rough. I hope not.
I mean, I love
Mika.
DJ, what's his DJ
name?
Mika,
baby.
DJ Mika.
Well, no, you know what? He doesn't. I don't think he has one, as far as I know. I have. For anyone who doesn't know, he DJs like in his spare time. I have one Mika Zibanejad track in my Spotify. And it's really good, honestly. It's just he's just Mika Zibanejad in the credits on that. So, yeah.
Well, Mika, a part of the Swedish House Mafia. As we move over to the United States, so the 6 that they are bringing to, the 6 that they brought to the Four Nations were Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, Matthew Tkachuk, Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy. The only name on that list that has been changed out is Adam Fox in replace for Brady Tkachuk. And I think that is like, we saw the star rise for Brady Tkachuk in the Four Nations in the tournament, and then even in the playoffs against the Leafs. It was a shorter showing than I think Brady wanted, but I think getting named to this team is all but warranted. For as good as Adam Fox has been in the past, I think he's another one where honestly, you can go down the list of anybody on the Rangers. We talked about Mika before, right? Adam Fox is in that same boat where his stock is, it might be at its all-time low, but that also doesn't mean that I can't
remember if he was dealing with like an injury this year or not, but it's interesting. Like I remember, especially at the start of the season, it was like, whoa, what's up with Adam Fox? And I think interestingly, if you look at like some of the underlying stuff that I look at on The Athletic, he's still like his metrics kind of evened out by the end of the season, where he was still like a top 10 defenseman, but like we know, like peak Adam Fox is a guy who can win the Norris. So
yeah,
down year 100%. For him too, right? Always like down year in terms of probably maybe all time low just in terms of he's been so good as a Ranger. So
dude, he could win the Norris next year, and would you be like completely shocked?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, definitely warranted for Brady. Once again, I think just like we have little mix-ups here just to kind of give guys their flowers, whatever. I like it is interesting to note we had a dude who plays goalie who just won the Hart and the Vezina.
Yeah,
and is
American. I know, and that's 2 straight tournaments now where he hasn't been named to that list. But also, like, who are you gonna kick off?
No, this
list,
is very purposeful.
Right?
Like, if I was a GM of these teams, unless I'm like one of the smaller European countries where I have only 1 or 2 goalies in the NHL, like I'm not naming your goalie. I don't care who you are. It is just crazy when you put it in the terms of Hart and Vezina Trophy winner, literally like less than a week ago, not named to this team. So it's very, very interesting in that respect. But I think Hellebuck gets it, and I think obviously the USA. It's not the slight of all slights, but goalies are crazy, man. We learned at Four Nations. So
they really are. No, 100%. For the reigning champions of the Olympics, when the last time that the NHL players got to go, and also the reigning Four Nation champion, Canada. They named Sidney Crosby, Nate McKinnon, Brad Marchand, Connor McDavid, Braden Point, Cale Makar as their 6 originally. The only player to not make the initial 6 funnily enough, is Brad Marchand, who could potentially have a Conn Smythe by the time the 2026 Olympics hits. And in replace for him, it's his teammate, Sam Reinhart. So, I mean, listen, I don't think Brad Marchand is all that pissed about not being named to this initial roster, because I think he's one where I think out of everybody where we were talking there, where it's like, is he still gonna be there even though he's not named? I think Brad's gonna be there, right?
I think any of the names that we throw out, because I think there is a bunch. Like, I was having this conversation yesterday. So, other names in the mix. The other Sam that plays for Florida, Sam Bennett.
Yep.
Mitch Marner. At the end of the day, this guy had the primary assist on the game-winning goal at the tournament and an OT winner. He's fantastic at Four Nations. And Brandon Hagel, I would throw in there too. I think he's a guy who, like, if you're talking poster boy of Four Nations for Canada, you think of one image in your head from that tournament, it's Brandon Hagel and Tkachuk throwing
chucking nuts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, 100%.
I don't think you can go wrong with any of the options. At the end, like, stock up for Brad Marchand. Obviously, at Four Nations, he was the better player than Sam Reinhart, and on balance in the playoffs here for Florida. But also, Sam Reinhart was second in Selke voting. Like, he's obviously no slouch. No one making these teams are slouches. And 100%. All of the players that I think I listed, they're going to be on the team. So, yeah, it is weird, though. It is weird. I was surprised, like, that Mitch or Brandon Hagel weren't in that spot, just because who's the coach? John Cooper. I know, like, John Cooper loves to rave about Mitch Marner. Loves to do that. So, and then Brandon Hagel, I mean, plays for the Lightning. So you already got Braden Point there. I don't think that really matters politics-wise in terms of multiple players from the same team, whatever. But, yeah. So,
personally for me, it's like this just really comes down to the embarrassment of riches, because it's like who of Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Nate McKinnon are you?
Cale Makar,
are you taking off, right? Like,
let's just take a moment to, like, thank the hockey gods that is our core. Like, that Canadian core, we saw that. I have a smile on my face just thinking back to watching those four play for Canada at Four Nations.
It was just so good. It was so fun.
That was a treat, man. That was a treat. I can't wait to do it again.
Dude, 2026 cannot come fast enough.
Don't you feel like the timing of when they drop these lists is, like, totally off base? Like, why are you dropping this in the middle of the Stanley Cup Final? Once again, I had a conversation yesterday where someone made a point. Like, this should have been dropped in the middle of July when we have nothing else to talk about. Right?
I feel like they just want to news dump everything beforehand so everybody can just take screw off for the summer. Yeah. I think that's honestly what it comes down to, because I think you're right. Because now this kind of it will get thrown under the radar depending on what happens tonight. Like, everything kind of is going to happen. So you're right. But it is fun to talk about for like 24 to 48 hours, I guess.
Can I hit you with two surprises here? Not two surprises. One is a surprise, one isn't. And I'm going to get this one out of the way first. Once upon a time, in one of our first episodes of this podcast, we did a little exercise, making the Italian.
I think it was
for the 2026. Was it the first?
Yeah, I think it was our first episode.
Very early on, we did this exercise, and this was at the time that rumors were swirling that Italy was going to try and work with IIHF and NHL to get some players of Italian heritage on their team. We took a little exercise of making that team. It looked really good if all of the heritage players went, which was never going to be the case, but fun thought exercise. It looks like that's not happening.
It doesn't. There is one name though that we had on the list.
Yeah.
There, but I think that was also like the shoe-in pick as well.
Yes. Yeah, Damian Clada in goal for the Italian squad. He's a Ducks prospect. He's a large lad. I can't wait to see some of his action at the tournament.
Little Damiano.
Everyone else, I don't know who you are.
There was like 2 or 3 names on that list. I don't have the list in front of me, but there was like one of them where it's like, I know based on this person's last name, I know exactly where they're from, and it's right on the border with Switzerland. It's somebody like I forget his name. Honestly, I'd have to go back to look at it. But I'm like, I know where you're from. Like, you are like literally on the border with the Swiss with a name like that. But yeah, Christian, no, 100%. The only thing I'm missing on that Italian roster is all the vowel sounds. There were so many not Italian sounding names, if I'm going to be honest. And it kind of let me down. So I want to see
Thomas Larkin, buddy. You're not.
Yeah, Thomas Larkin.
I saw a lot of people get
related to
baited
Dylan
as that being. No, like people were thinking it was Dylan Larkin because on the graphic it just said Larkin.
Yeah. Well, I needed
whoa.
to do a double look. I got baited as well because I was like, wait a minute, but is he any relation to Dylan?
I don't think so. I haven't. Sorry, I did not do a deep dive on Thomas Larkin or any of the other names. But yeah, I know. I'm sure we'll have our stereotypical Italian names on this team, though, Dave.
I need a few.
I don't know if we'll have any Cenitis or Leos, but
definitely
not. They'll be there.
Definitely
not. They'll be there. Hey, how about this was the other one I want to throw at you. Last team here, Germany, did not name JJ Peterka.
They did.
There's a Lucas Reichel in there. Yeah, they did not.
Yeah,
that's what they did.
Moritz Seider.
Moritz Seider obviously deserved. Leon Draisaitl, very deserved. Other names that I'm blanking on right now. I think Lucas Reichel was the one.
There's one name because like they have Philip Grubauer as their goalie. I think all the teams that weren't in the Four Nations basically, like except barring the Finns. I think
Saros for Finns.
I think everybody basically, if you have an NHL goaltender that plays for your nation, he was on the initial list. So in that case, like Philip Grubauer was there. Nico Sturm was the other name there, where a lot of people were like, I don't know if Nico Sturm Nico Sturm's a good player, a pretty decent player, might I add, but I think JJ Peterka is pretty freaking good, if I'm going to be honest.
He's the third best German in the NHL. But once again, performative stuff. This is just probably giving a head nod to, I think Nico Sturm and Lucas Reichel have played more internationally for Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's obviously all it comes down to. Peterka will be there for Germany, but it's interesting in the midst of a lot of Peterka news that we've been getting recently. For a second, it was like, no, the Sabres don't want to trade him. They're just like, they're resisting that talk out there. All of a sudden, the switch flipped. This my words today are just gone. The switch flipped, and it sounds like they are listening now on JJ Peterka, the Buffalo Sabres, Dave. I
don't know if that's the guy.
I'm very interested to see where this goes.
I mean, it's so tough because they're in a position where they have just an embarrassment of riches of players under the age of like 26, and I would say a lot of them you can probably get pretty decent value for, but also why not keep them?
I think the reason why not keep them is because they don't want to stay there. That's what
I was I was just about to get there, where it was like, you've got to do something here to keep guys like that in Buffalo. You don't want to get rid of that asset in terms of like what magic beans at this point. Who's to say that the player that you trade for or whatever you get in return in a couple years from now, whatever it may be, also doesn't turn around and say, hey, I hate it here, let me get out, send me somewhere else, right? Like, there's just no guarantee. You have to kind of mend this fence and mend your losing culture at some point here. And I think you need somebody like JJ Peterka to help turn that around, right? Am I off base with that?
I think ideally that is what I think that's what most teams would do. I think that, you know who did that? Not that there was a losing culture really, but like Calgary was able to retain a lot of the guys that were there for the losing seasons under Daryl Sutter, and now they're back on the upswing. The thing with Buffalo is this is just such a deep-seated losing culture that I wonder if JJ Peterka is asking out, that really opens up the potential for a lot of other guys to be asking out. Like JJ Peterka is what? Like how old is JJ Peterka here? He's 23. You have a guy asking out at 23 years old. He's just becoming an RFA. He's going to sign a big deal. Like, to me, that opens it up for everyone older than him who's been here longer than him to be like, hey, that guy gets to leave? Yeah, me too, please. Like, we talked about him as one of the Swedish guys named. Like, to me, honestly, you're going... Like, this could escalate to a Rasmus Dahlin trade. Like, we've had that up and down before. Never got to anywhere concrete, really. But...
Well...
He's the guy after Jack Eichel who's supposed to, like... be the next one.
Yeah.
And he's... Listen, like, it's nothing on him. It is nothing on him. It's just, like, you would not blame him if he said, I'm also fed up. That's all. I think it really opens it up. I think Tuck is maybe a guy who might want to stay just because he's a local guy. But...
Well, when they got him...
Byram wants out.
When they got Alex Tuck in that deal for Jack Eichel, a lot of people on the outside looking in were like, I don't know if Alex Tuck is going to be the guy to replace the production of Jack Eichel. But then you see him come in, and he is a Buffalo native, and you just see kind of like what it means to him to put on that jersey, and you're like, oh, they picked their guy here, right? And that was that would have been now 3 years ago, and ever since then, it's just kind of been slowly degrading at him. So to even make your local product, and we know all about this, to kind of degrade that person, like to kind of maybe jade him a little bit over a prolonged period of time.
Like, I don't know if, like, I don't think they've put his name out there. I don't know if he has even spoken too much, like,
about it. Yeah.
But I think it can go there, though. That's what I think it can go there. But I also think, like, if you're gonna look at a name that stays there, he might, like, he's your best bet because of all the reasons you listed. Like, they got him for a reason in Vegas. We know that teams have asked on him before, and once again, Buffalo has resisted there. But, like, we have Jason Robertson in trade talk right now. Tage Thompson, you don't think he will have maybe some talk around him this year?
100%.
Yeah, it's just, like, they might have to go nuclear here just because of, I just think, once again, having a young guy like JJ Peterka ask out, a guy who set career highs this year, has had multiple good years in a row here. It's not a lack of opportunity in Buffalo, I don't think. It's a lack of winning. It's a lack of a good culture that's pushing him out. Really opens it up for other guys. Question I got for you, like Peterka specifically, because it sounds like he's the most imminent guy to move. Maybe him or Byram.
But personally, I would put Byram over him. I think that there's just so much of a logjam on that D that I think it's kind of going against helping the development of like an Owen Power kind of come through.
Yeah, that's fair. It's also, we've had the rumors there longer. Like, it's probably been worked on more to this point.
A lot,
right?
yeah, 100%. But yeah, sorry, go right ahead.
Point. Okay. Just on the Peterka thing, there's a lineage of Buffalo forwards who
don't tell me he's going to go to Florida.
Point, ask for a trade and blossom.
Yeah.
And win Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
No. I'm not going to go there. But listen, Sam Reinhart, obvious guy there who, just kind of not plateaued. Like, he was one of Buffalo's better players, but the relationship degraded because of the losing culture, blossoms into what he is right now in Florida. Ryan O'Reilly, we know the story there. JJ Peterka is a different kind of player. He is a offense-first sniper. He's a playmaker as well. He's fantastic at everything offensively, really. But he's not like the prototypical like playoff forward like Sam Reinhart or Ryan O'Reilly are. Do you think that JJ Peterka is the next guy in that Sabres lineage to leave there and blossom into something incredible? I kind of do. I'm a big believer in JJ Peterka. It obviously depends on where he goes, but
for sure,
that's a guy who I believe in.
Well, I mean, I believe in him as well, so much that I have him. Like, I drafted him in our legacy like fantasy league because I'm like, I want this guy. He's still 23, and I was pegging him maybe this year to start breaking out, and he had a fine season, but I'm still waiting for the next step with him.
He had a good season. He can have an explosive season.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that the Sabres are on, like, he is on the cusp of having a breakout season, and it kind of just seems fitting that when a player is there, like right on the edge of just having an otherworldly type of season, the Sabres let him go for magic beans, basically, right? It is trending in that direction, 100%, and I'm imploring whoever it is right now, like top brass, whoever it needs to be, just hold on to him for one more year. Try your damnedest to make it work. And if not, I mean, they're probably losing. Yeah, that is the nuclear option. Like, there's no way around it, I think.
Yeah. To me, it seems like it's likely they were going to lose Peterka and Byram at least this offseason. We'll see like what they target in a trade return, but those are big holes to fill. Mm-hmm. But I like it's because the players are asking out. And for Buffalo, I don't think you can survive having players who don't want to be there around much longer.
100%.
That's kind of where I'm at there. So yeah, I hope he's not traded actually by next episode, because I'd like to continue talking about this. Maybe look at some of the fits for him.
Yeah.
We know that the Rangers sniffed around on him a lot. Maybe it's the offer sheet route. Maybe the Sabres just want 4 first-round picks. I don't know if it will. Honestly, maybe Peterka could fetch that. But yeah, we'll see that. We'll see on Peterka.
Yeah. So bringing up the Rangers there, they made a little bit of they made a bit of noise over the past week, sending Chris Kreider to the Anaheim Ducks for forward prospect Carey Terrence and a 4th-round pick as well. The Rangers got back a 3rd-rounder as well. So, Christian, it was kind of... It was written, I would say, since the trade deadline. Were they not trying to work on a trade at that point to send Chris Kreider? Like, it was going to be Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba, like, out of there?
Well, remember that, like, the first shot across the bow was Chris Drury kind of putting it out there that Kreider was available, and everyone was like, hold up, this is, like, your longest tenured active player. Like, it wasn't apparently received well in the locker room. Like, Kreider kind of was surprised by it because he hadn't been spoken to about it. So, like, definitely, like, percolating is where this was. And then, yeah, it's interesting that he ends up at Anaheim, where Trouba ended up, where you have other former Rangers like Frank Vetrano and Ryan Strome. Mm-hmm. Kreider is apparently decent buddies with Trevor Zegras.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. A lot of connections here. You can see why he would want to go here. Even though Anaheim was on his no-trade list, he had to waive to go here, but obviously he did. Elliot Friedman's made the point of saying the John Quenneville factor is part of this as well. I like this on both sides. I like this for the player and the acquiring team. For the Rangers, I mean, depends on what they do with the cap space. I can't say I love it for them, but Kreider had a very down year. Maybe you can do more with that cap space. But yeah, for Kreider, I love it that like he probably is now totally remotivated, rejuvenated to work with a coach that I guess he's excited to play for, and reunite with a bunch of former teammates. And the Trevor Zegras factor. It seems like he's a guy that he's mentored a little bit, and Zegras was decently excited. He put out a post, I believe, on Instagram, kind of excited to have Kreider on the team. And then, yeah, from the Anaheim perspective, I love that this could rejuvenate Trevor Zegras.
Yeah.
This is kind of a 2-for-1 in that sense, right? Where you were able to get a guy who can maybe fix a guy you already have there. Because I would have told you that Trevor Zegras should be out the door this year for Anaheim. I would have.
It really looked that way.
Low, yeah.
I would say for 2 years, it really looked like it was just honestly a matter of time, and it was like, who knows what's holding it up. Like, I wouldn't put it past them that they've had deep talks about shipping him out, but like you just mentioned, you're gonna ship out a guy. You're gonna ship out a guy like of that type of caliber. Like, we know what caliber he can get to, at his...
We've seen it. It's not even get to because, like, he's been there.
Yeah.
He's done
100%. And at his legitimate lowest, right? Like, you would get nothing for him. Nothing, or at least fair, comparable value. Like
less than you could get, should get. And now you've convinced me. Wait another year on the project. Let's see how it looks where he's maybe remotivated playing with a decent, a guy that he's excited to play with. Yeah. Right. So I love it for the Ducks. They still have $32 million in cap space. They did not pay a lot. Casey Terrence is not, unfortunately, a great prospect, and it was a middling pick swap. He makes, got to double check here. I think it's 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5.
Yeah, he makes 6.5 for 2 more years. Here's where I want to go with this, Dave. This is the one. This is a trade I will be writing down as Leafs. Why didn't you do this? To be honest,
yeah,
I am. And listen,
you're right.
Ball was in his court. Leafs might have been on his no trade list. Maybe I'm pulling at straws here, and it wasn't even a potential.
Yeah.
But we did this a couple years ago when Brad first came in, and I remember the Riley Smith trade, and we were like, "Oh, write that down as one that the Leafs should have been in on."
Yeah.
I'm writing this one down, Dave, and I'll tell you why. Like, once again, I know Kreider did not have a fantastic year. He did not have a good year at all. If Chris Kreider was on the open market, and you told me you could get Chris Kreider for $6.5 million on a 2-year deal, you're doing that.
Yeah, 100%.
You are doing that this year with who is out there, which is not a lot. I would do that deal.
100%.
I would
in a heartbeat.
I would. And we had the tiniest bit of rumors just as the offseason started for the Leafs that they would check in on Kreider. And maybe
they probably did.
Like, maybe I'm speaking to the void here, and it was never even a possibility because he didn't want to come here. But until I hear that, I'm a little annoyed.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I'll be honest. I think Anaheim for him might be just the absolute cure for all his ailments. I truly believe. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb here. I don't know if the Anaheim Ducks are going to make the playoffs this year. But I think with the addition of Chris Kreider and potential next offseason moves, whether that might be bringing Mitch Marner to the OC, who knows?
We've even heard JT stuff.
I've heard, they might bring both of them there. Right? Like, they might try for both.
I will say, I don't think it was like we definitely have explicit links between Anaheim and Marner. We have those.
Yes.
We have, like, people throwing out $14 million. We'll see about that. But we know that Anaheim maybe doesn't get a seat at the table because we know that Mitch has given out some invites. He's sent one to the Leafs, and the Leafs declined because, what the hell? We've been talking this whole time. Don't think there's anything left. But Anaheim will at least try to get a seat at that table.
100%.
Sure.
They're going to make a pitch.
And the JT stuff, I think Elliot just kind of said, like, I could see Anaheim being interested. Like, it wasn't, like, factual yet.
Yeah, I mean, okay, listen, if I'm going to be honest with the JT stuff, he, like Marner, also has a relatively young family, and I know he's got a lot of property and stuff in the GTA and, like, north of the GTA as well. I'm less inclined to believe that John's gonna leave as much as, like, a Mitch is gonna leave. That's just what I feel. Yeah. But for Anaheim, I think this is the step that, and this is the player that they need to take the step in the right direction. I truly believe that the Anaheim Ducks this upcoming year will be competitive enough to challenge for a playoff spot down the stretch, especially considering I think the bottom half of that Pacific Division is pretty weak with teams like I don't really like the way that Vancouver's playing out. Calgary's there. I think they'll be in a mix with Calgary. San Jose, I don't know, are they going to take a big step this year? But that's already 3 teams that, you know, you're fighting with. We already have the top of division kind of locked up with Vegas, with Edmonton, and I would say LA's probably a shoe-in for a top 3. But a 4th place finish for the Anaheim Ducks this year could be in the cards with the addition of Chris Kreider, especially considering everything about him. I think Chris Kreider is going to get all the cookies this year. Personally, the 22 goals that he scored this past year, 30 points in total is going to seem more of an aberration, I think. I truly believe we're going to see a rejuvenated Chris Kreider, Trevor Zegras, and also, to that point, if those two guys are clicking, guys like Mason McTavish, Leo Carlson, and those other like forward prospects.
It's a great blend of like veterans and young guys.
Yeah,
it is a really good
even
blend
like if you get something, if you get like Ryan Strome, I don't think back to like his New York Rangers form, but if he's at least content and kind of helping to lead the team, I think that's as good as you can get, basically, right?
I am honestly, I'm pretty bullish on them right now. Like, I think I honestly might have them in a playoff spot if I was making listen, Dostal and Gibson,
I was just about to say,
spinning rumors forever.
Yeah, Lucas Dostal alone could be a driving force for why they're in a playoff spot. And
listen, like Gibson actually had decent numbers by the end of the year. Like, just looking here. 912 save percentage for Gibson, a 903 on the year for Dostal. Obviously, Gibson only played in 29 games versus Dostal 54. But even if you're trading Gibson, who makes $6.4 million, that gives you more room to play with. They have RFAs to sign this year and a lot next year, a lot. But this year, it's Mason McTavish, it's
Leo Carlson.
Dostal. That was the two. Those are the two big ones. They have a lot though in 2026. I'm not even going to list them because there's a ton. So I don't even know if they're going to use all of their $32 million in cap space, or maybe they do, and I think they're going to try and sell more veterans on high AAV 1-year deals. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. I honestly think this is shaping up to be a year for Anaheim where
bring in the mercenaries.
They could sneakily bring in the mercenaries, because you're going to have a bunch of guys who aren't on their entry level deals anymore starting next season, not this one, the one after. I think you should try and take advantage of this as a sort of surprise contention window. Just a 1-year contention window. And you have to play your cards right because you need to be able to sign all of your young guys the following year. Yeah. But this is a rare opportunity with the cap going up that I think the Ducks can get this really cool blend of super young, super veteran players. And it might actually work. I'm kind of buying what Pat Verbeek is selling early here. We'll see what else he's got up his sleeve. Maybe he goes out and... Maybe he cooks up some burnt cookies, and I'm like, oh yeah. Dude, the smell coming out of the oven was fantastic, and this
you just left it in too long.
Right now, I walked in the kitchen, I looked inside the oven window, and they're looking like Pillsbury cookies. Yeah, okay? That's what I'm seeing right now. We'll see if they look like that when they come out. If they're Raisin Bran, I might be a little disappointed, but I like what I see right now.
We could be sitting here this time next season and either saying, "What did blood just cook?" or what was brother cooking, right? It could
cooked or
what did brother cook? Yeah, we will. We really will.
We should do a segment.
Cooked or cooked?
We'll do that segment. Cooked or cooked? Work on the
it's coming back.
Speaking of that, I'm cooked for today, Dave.
Yeah,
let's get out of here.
Honestly, dude, another great episode in the books. Can't wait for tonight. I'm already just so ecstatic to see how tonight's game plays out. I hope we get at least one more game of hockey before we kind of have to start wrapping it up for the season and wait for the next one to start. But regardless, the next few weeks into July 1st are going to be hectic, so stick along on the Second Look Sports channel, whether it's our Second Look Hockey podcast or the Second Look Sports general show, to get all the updates for everything going on in the NHL world. We'll try our hardest to get everything for you guys. Thank you for all the support you've sent us over the past 6 months, I believe. We really appreciate it. Let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Second Look Sports channel, and also follow our socials as well. You can find that in the bio of the channel. On that note, Christian, do you have any last parting thoughts before we go?
Please give us a Game 7. That's all.
Okay.
That's all.
Please give us a Game 7. On that note, we'll see you next week.